Hello, konbanwa. Good evening. How are we all doing? I'm sorry, the timing and things is a little bit off. How are we all doing? Ooh, got this wrong. Let me reset that. Really terrible start. Hello, afternoon all. How are we doing? My name is Taryn. Most of you probably know that. I'm a woodblock printmaker. Is that where we want to start this? Let me stop the music for a second. I can't think. Tired. We are doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be doing some Asuka Sensei work. This has just come in. Was it? Wow. Yesterday. I received it yesterday, but I couldn't start last night. I just got some prep work done, sharpened my knives and stuff. And today I'm starting the carvers in earnest. I'm going to show you a different thing I have. This is a little, maybe you haven't seen this before. This is my little, when I'm doing outside projects and I don't really have a good gauge of how much it's going to cost, and I kind of want to know how long these sorts of projects take, I like to time them. So this is a little thing, I just click start, stop, and it just counts up. And so I keep that on my desk, and this is how because I'm really bad at gauging how much time has passed. When I start working on something, I sort of get into a zone, and 8 hours are gone, and I got to try and remember what time I started and whatever. And then over days and weeks, that gets really difficult. So I'd like to keep a clock, just so I can look back and go, that's all I got paid for 100 hours of work, type of thing. It doesn't really affect anything, but I was gonna say it's good for my mental well-being, but probably not. It helps me gauge things better so I can price my work in the future, I guess. I don't do it with all my mokanka and stuff. I used to have this app called A Tracker, I think it was, and I set it up so it has all like the different types of jobs I do. So I got a breakdown of my day. So I have actually quite a good estimation of like how much time things take, and like how much of my day is spent doing like particular things like travel and Asuka Sensei work or Mokankan work or tracing. I got all these different things, but it's like keeping a journal. I don't know if any of you have tried keeping a bullet journal. It becomes like a full-time job. It seems easy to set up, but anyway, welcome in everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Toggle is quite good for that too. Maybe I'll have a look at it. I bought an analog one, and this has simplified things a bit. I've had this for a couple of years now, but I like it. It's a good one. It looks cool as well. Sort of retro. What are we doing? Right, for the next little while, you're not going to see the bonsai print. That's out of here. We're not doing that anymore. For the next 3 weeks, it's got to be done by the 10th at the latest. It's going to be tough because I've already booked in a birthday camp trip, which there's no way I'm giving up on that. That's all that's keeping me motivated and pushing forward. So we'll have that coming up. I'm doing that on the weekend of the 2nd. But every other minute that I'm not doing mokankan work, I will be awake doing this. This is some Asuka Sensei project. I don't know if I'm supposed to show you this. In the past, I've been told explicitly not to show you this type of stuff. But you can't tell anything about the work. I can't really discuss the artist or the image, so maybe not so fun for you guys because you don't know what the direction is, and you're not going to be able to guess the image from these blocks. The name of the stream is Death by 1,000 Dots, and yeah, let me hold this block up here. This is what we're working on. We have 4 blocks, well, 4 faces like this. These are really, in terms of Japanese printmaking, these blocks are massive. They're like 55 by 45, and they're on Shina, and I hate Shina, but we're gonna go. We'll be okay. We'll persevere. We'll persevere. Anyway, there's those sections on all 4 of these blocks on both sides. I'll try and speak more clearly. Sorry if you're French and don't understand my words very well. I'll try and speak clearly. I do tend to mumble, and that's not a good habit. So you found a loophole. Technically, I shouldn't show yet. He hasn't actually said that explicitly on this project, and I've not brought it up. But anyway, I gotta get started. I gotta get going. Maybe there'll be less chatty. We'll see how the stream goes. I've really got to move. I Yeah, I don't have much time. Let's focus this. It's a bit dark for you as well. That's the problem with these evening streams. Even though I got all this light, I don't know, the camera settings may be wrong, but they always seem a little bit blown out. Where's my glasses? You did a similar thing when you're in uni to keep track, when they could pay me. It's really handy to just, more so for yourself, just so you know you're not, because it's really easy to just work endless hours, and then when it comes to any sort of payment, you're like, if you know, you know. Knowledge is power. There you go. I sharpened before the stream. Just got to choose the correct knife. Let's start with this nice general purpose one. We'll start with this knife. Kind of a standard angle. Start the music again. I hope you're all good. Tell me about your weekends. And let me just get started. Enough talk. Talking too much. I wish I could tell you about this artist actually, because he's actually quite an interesting guy. That's teasing. I'm sorry. I won't do any more of that. We won't talk about the art or the artist anymore. Also, because these blocks are so big, I've got a slightly different setup because, well, it's a little tricky to put things on my desk. I got a big desk in terms of, like, compared to other carvers' desks, mine's pretty large, but still, these blocks are big. Let's go. We're going to start left. Not a classic way, but it doesn't really matter. Is it anime? No, it's not anime. No, this is an actual artist, which is good. But these types of work, these are the kind of works that can maybe be done by a machine. Looks like thick Hanchster paper. Yeah, but it's got a pulpy backing, so the Gampi itself is quite thin. Midna, you're in Japan? Oh wow. You did mention you were going. I didn't realize that'd come. Enjoy. Are you coming to Tokyo at some point? Got no idea what you're carving now. You're not gonna have. I think I'm safe. Yeah. Well, tell us all about your trip. Maybe this will make it a little bit clearer for you. Does this help you? These are blown up versions. What number is this? 26? Let me find the right paper just so I have my reference. You can see that I got some fun times ahead. It's just endless hours of this. Anyway, I'm being so grumpy. I'm sorry. I'm tired. Happy time. 26. Here we go. Here's my reference. I don't think I'll need it right now, but yeah, this is correct. How many hours on this? I'm at 15 minutes. This is my first cut. But I'm guessing my estimate is probably 100 and something. I'm not sure how many. Also, Shinane. It's so different to carve. When you're used to like one type of wood and you try something else, it takes me a little bit to get into it. There's also a couple things with Sheena that you have to be quite mindful of. The wood is much softer, and so it's really easy to round off the corners. So you've got to have really good technique to carve really clean, nice Sheena. Nice sharp knife. You want to be pushing down exactly on the direction of the blade. You don't want any extra pressure going on one side or the other. You'll really easily roll over the edges because it's so soft. Lots of you out there who are making your own prints, you'll be working with Sheena a lot, I guess, but I rarely get to practice on it. And I'm thankful of that. I really quite dislike it. I did have a go a few years back because I did some lino when I was younger. And I had a go at lino a few years back and I just absolutely hated it. All my instincts are wrong and it's like, it's so squishy. I put my knife in it, just felt, oh, I made my skin crawl. It was so squishy. Nice opportunities to see some different carving on some different type of wood. Yeah, well, it's gonna look much the same to you guys. And obviously it's softer, so it's easier to put your knife in. So it's less, I guess it's less strenuous. Although normal carving, if you've got a nice sharp knife and you're using proper technique, is not very strenuous. But it does feel different. And if it looks like I'm missing and cutting into the black, that's actually on purpose. I don't know how close the camera is. But I'm slicing into the black. There's these little red dots and they got black outlines. And I'm cutting the black outlines down the mid-center basically. What's the longest time you've spent on a print? Oh, Eric, hey, welcome in. What's the longest time I've spent on a print? Maybe the bonsai one so far. From conception to now, it's been a long time. I don't really like to talk about how long it's been. But from the initial sketches to reaching out to Bjorn and then just the drawing on that alone, it went through a lot of different iterations. And the actual knife work, I did it in my head. It went really, really fast. So, but the clearing work on it, it's just because I'm not focused. I think I could really get that key block done in like 3-4 weeks if I was just able to work on it all day. But It's really not efficient doing an hour and a half, and then I got a little chat at the start, and then there's stuff at the end. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get into the flow of the work, and I'm chatting and reading the chat and stuff. So on stream, definitely. Like I think I'm about 2 times faster when I'm not on stream, I think. Just when you switch your brain off and you just start like going on instinct, not thinking about anything, not stopping in between. Like right now I'm carving kind of slow, but my pace sort of picks up after a little bit of quiet time if I've got some nice music on. Or I've just started Game of Thrones again. I the last block, the last one of these I was doing, that was the work I was talking about recently that I'd been staying up really late doing work on a really tight deadline. That one, I managed to finish the first Dune book, which is about 40 hours on the audiobook. So I figured I needed another series that I could get sort of zoned out into and just do this work. So I've restarted Game of Thrones. And if I get bored of Game of Thrones, I'll move to Children of Dune and mix and match them. Just because then I don't have to choose something. Be going a bit dotty. Um, Other than that print, I guess the Misty Day at Nico took me about 6 months, but I was still working as an English teacher at that time, and that was just like evening and weekend work. So I don't know. Typically, an Oban print takes a month or two, depending on the complexity. That's like typical work. The other thing that's really important with the Shina when you're cutting this, um, and you should be doing this all the time, but the angle of the cuts is really important. You should be making your cuts sort of like the image we always say when we're teaching classes is that the wood that's left should sort of look like Mount Fuji, should have slopes on either side, like 70 degrees. And you can get away on um, Yamazakura by going a little bit of a steeper angle sometimes. Best for printing if you stick with that 70, but if you've got some really delicate bits, sometimes you get a little bit higher just because you can sometimes be a bit more precise. But you can sometimes get finer details like that. You should always be trying to strive for that 70 degrees. But it's really kind of important with Shina because it's so weak and it's cut in layers as well. We won't be going through with our knife into the separate layers. Shina is plywood, yeah. But Yeah, they can pop off really easily, especially little dots like this. Cherry blossom petals, nice guess. No. No, you'll it's not possible to guess. The art style, it's just not possible to guess based on what you're looking at here. That's why I feel comfortable streaming this work, because it's impossible. It's impossible. Welcome in. Anyone here in chat is making their own prints, and they use these Shina. How do you feel about clearing the blocks? I think perhaps I mentioned it on a previous stream, but it's really not very fun to do the large clearing. I have a special set of chisels for doing Shina work. For my normal cherry blocks, I use a wide flat clearing chisel. But you can't use that on the Shina because it will just absolutely tear and rip everything. So you have to use a curved one. The curved one means that it's not going through all the layers flat, and it doesn't have those sharp corners on the edge. So hopefully the corners are a little bit out of the wood when you're delving down. So there's nothing to catch and tear separate layers and pull them apart. I only use very thin ply, which is a nightmare. Top layer peels off if you get. Also, the actual layers in the plywood themselves are very thin as well. Yeah, that's no fun. If that's all I'd ever known, I probably would never be a professional carver. Or maybe I would. Maybe that's all I'd ever known. Magnolia, yeah, I've never. It's somewhere in between. It's harder than the Sheena ply, but it's. I don't know. I don't actually have any experience in using that. And the reason is um, because it's only good for a few prints. And if I'm doing limited editions like this type of work, then it's cheaper to use the ply, and it prints really smooth and consistently over all the testing and stuff like that. There's never really a use case for me to use custody. Consider. I hope you're all settling in, because this is what we're doing now on these streams. And if we start getting close to the deadline and the work is progressing too slow, I might have to skip a couple streams. Or maybe I'll just have to stop talking, and then most of you guys will tune out. So I don't have to feel guilty about missing the stream. I didn't write any notes today. Usually I write some bullet points, stuff I'm supposed to talk about. I can't remember what I did on the weekend. I worked, yeah. Oh, that was it. The last stream, I was waiting for a block. That was my Saturday. It was actually a lot less work than I assumed it was going to be. It ended up just being one color block. So there was no touch-up work that I had to do, which was a big relief. Because touch-up work sometimes can take... It's a bit slow going, you know, depending on the block. Like a single area is not so bad, but when there's pervasive issues all over it, it really takes a long time. I do have a little bit of stories from the pool. I'm still swimming. That's the only time in the day I actually leave the house, so I gotta keep up with that. After coming back from the UK, just the amount of work piled up and stuff, it was a lot. Which is why I actually really, if any of my page, oh, we do have one of my Patreons here. I haven't posted anything in there for a while, and I keep feeling guilty, and I keep I keep writing stories in my head, but like getting time to actually write them down is just, it's a lot. I came back from the UK and things had piled up, and I only went swimming before last week, think 3 times. And then last week I finally got back to it. So there was like a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, where it was just no time to go swimming. But I'm back at it now. And it's been tough, you know. I was feeling really fit just before I went to the UK. I've been swimming a lot and I'd slowly been like improving my time and it was getting really, really good. I was swimming like 1 minute, 120, 100 meters in like, or 130. Anyway, these numbers probably mean nothing to most of you, you're not swimmers. But I was getting pretty quick. And I got back, and then it was like 3 weeks through swimming 3 times. Not very good. I felt sluggish and heavy. Good night, Happy Ukes. Thanks for dropping by. Let me just finish my story and then I'll explain the cutting. So I was doing at that time, I think like 2000. Yeah, I was doing 2000 meters. I was most like on a standard day, swimming like 130. Oh, like anything sub 130. And I was doing like 500 intervals with some warm up and some cool down stuff. And I came back and it's been a lot difficult to get back into it. Just everything feels slow. But I'm quite chatty with everyone in there. There was one guy I told you about before that looked like the Kusanada, the guy in Seven Samurai and Shogun. When you think of a Japanese samurai actor, that's the guy, if you don't know the name. Anyway, he looked a little bit like him, and he's really gregarious and chatty. And he just talks to everyone. And so he really opened up the pool, and now I'm like a known face. I've been going there for a while. Everyone's very chatty. There's a guy who goes to the gym before. He's been going for years and years. And because we got quite friendly, he felt comfortable to point something out. He noticed that I'd been like, I don't know how much I want to go into. He said that I've been crossing my arm. You shouldn't really cross your arm. It should land, your hand should land just in front of your shoulder, basically. But I've been on my right hand side, always like twisting my body a bit much and coming in too shallow. So then I worked on that. And now I'm back up to proper pace. It's good. It's nice because you can't really. It'd be good if you can take a camera in and see your own mistakes. But if you don't know, if you can't see yourself, you can't always tell what you're doing wrong. And I didn't really think that I had any of that wrong. I was really focused on high elbows. This is too much swimming talk. when I do things, I tend to get really like granular into them. I really like doing things well. So I started swimming and I got like really into it. Are you stippling in a tree? Yeah, it's basically stippling, yeah. Yeah, I'm stippling in some wood. Or reverse stippling, would you call it? Everything else that's not the stipples is what I'm carving. Do you ever get bored of swimming? I feel like it can be challenged when all you see is the bottom of the pool. Um, I don't really know I don't notice the bottom of the pool. It's a good thing. It's a good point. Like that's how I used to feel about running. I really love running. I haven't been running in a long time and I want to get back into it. And swimming's sort of the same thing. You're just like doing the repetitive motion. More so than running, I think swimming is quite engaging because you like for a couple laps you think about one part of your stroke, you think about the entry, and that's all you think about is the entry for those like that 100 meters, and then the next 100 meters, all you think about is like the the pull, and then you do another 100 meters, and all you think about is the push at the end. So that's how I swim. I tend to like focus on each part of my stroke at different points, so that each lap is actually a little bit different. I'm doing something a little bit different. Swimming's really technical, and so I think there's a lot. If you're just mindlessly just like not thinking about how you're swimming, I guess it would get really boring. I like swimming talk. You're probably one of the only ones that people are going to all be tuning out. I started swimming 2 years ago because of Dave's. Ah, okay. Yeah, there's so many different things you can focus on. And then there's also drills that you can do as well to keep it interesting. There's loads of ways to keep your training interesting. It'd be really nice if I could have some music in the pool. That'd be really great. It'd be the perfect sport for me if I could also have headphones while I'm swimming. And I'm sure there are swimming headphones, but I could probably get away with it. I don't think I'm willing to invest in them right now. They probably cost a lot. My Garmin I use actually does have music on it, so if I did get some headphones, that might actually work. What sports do you guys do? We got a swimmer in here. Anyone else do any other interesting sports? I was running quite a bit when I was uh, this spring. I was doing a lot of running, but I just gave up now trying to run through the summer. It's unbearable here in Japan in the summers. I don't do very well in the heat anyway. And then with the humidity in summer, it just kills me. So I've given up on running in the summer, but it's finally got cool again. So I guess, although I've got lots of work to do right now. So maybe when the work's all done, I can go for some weekend runs. I think I'll continue with my lunchtime swims, but Senbonzaka? No, no. This is a project for Asuka Sensei, that's all I'll say. I was swimming in a lake, in Lake Superior once, wow, and looked down and saw a large salmon. So I switched to fishing. Oh, thank you so much, Super Sheep. That's a name I can't really mess up. So I appreciate your name too. Wait a second. Where is it? Hi.
とてもサンキュー。
Arigato. Underwater headphones are pretty bad. It's bone. Ah, okay. The bone conductivity ones. But even if the audio is not very good, although it's probably good that I have a period in my day where there's no like audio stimulus. It's good just to focus on the thing you're doing. Because I've never had the headphones, I've never got into the habit. Running without headphones occasionally is nice, but often, especially on longer runs, it's kind of awful. Although saying that, I've had some really lovely long runs without headphones. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore everything I say. I want to get back to trail running as well. This is all about athletics now, this stream. I want to get back to trail running. I started getting into, well, it's less trail running and more mountain runs. I don't know if that's got a different name to trail running. There's no much flat stuff. Like we used to go hiking a lot, and then we had the kid, and it's been quite difficult to get out. We've been for a couple of hikes with him. In fact, we should get out there and do some more. But I got into running at fountains a little bit. The last one I chose though was just it was a mountain. It was really, really steep. I think we did it before. Which mountain was it? Hindanzan? No. It was one of the mountains next. It was like towards Okutama area. But it's not the one you're thinking. Anyway, it'll come to me. I'll let you know next stream. But I think I had a record on my Garmin that we did it in like 5 hours. And we walk kind of fast when we're doing our hike. We did it in about 4 hours. No, 5. Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 hours. And I managed to do it in under 2, which was really happy. But I was a pool of drippy sweat after. I think I shared some of that one as well on my stories. How about mountains and caves where you can mine your own crystals? I don't know about caves, you know. Also long sleeves, yeah, I'm kind of regretting it. You know, it's getting a little bit hot. It's nippy outside, but as soon as I close all the doors here so I'm not disturbing the rest of the house with talking to myself, which is essentially what this is. It's a really small room, so it heats up really quickly. And these lights have been on all day. These grow lights. So I think they're kicking out some heat. And I've got 3 lights here and a very hot camera. It starts to heat up this room really quickly. Am I on camera? I'm not even on camera. They're kind of unwieldy, these blocks, you know, they're big. How we doing? It was raining. Yeah, it's rained intermittently. It's been a little bit rainier, not much though. It really doesn't rain that much in Japan. That was one of the things that really shocked me, especially coming from the UK, because we were at sort of the same latitude. But the weather, yeah, it's very different. Not quite as wet. There's often long periods, especially in summer and in the depths of winter, where it just doesn't rain. It feels like for months. Would Taran go for a fossil excavation? Younger Taran would have been all over that. That was one of the things I wanted to be when I was younger. I was, there's a couple things that young boys sort of seem to gravitate towards. There's the car boys, and then there's just the hit your friend over the head with a stick kind of boy. And I was a climb a tree and dinosaur boy. I used to love dinosaurs. There was a show on UK TV that was called Walking with Dinosaurs. It was incredible. It was full of dinosaur lies. They all no feathered dinosaurs and stuff. This was before all that. It was like public knowledge, or in the public psyche anyway. But yeah, I was really into dinosaurs. And I'm not being exclusive, um, just that it's a boys thing. The reason I say boys is because I'm thinking of when I used to work in kindergarten here in Japan. You could just get the little girls don't do it as much, walking around the classroom just like biting things. They seem to sit nicely and play with their friends, but the boys just sort of walk around all by themselves, doing not focused on anything else happening around them, just like growling. Jurassic Park at age 4 and 5 was amazing. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that's a little bit of me. I was a big Allosaurus guy. Oh, those documentary. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They also had another one, Walking with Beasts, which is just that was peak. That was my favorite. What got me was the guy losing his glasses. Ah, Jurassic Park. I was trying to think of that in Walking with Dinosaurs. I really wonder how those aged. Because at the time the CGI was like mind blowing. Not Jurassic Park. This is Walking with Dinosaurs. The guy losing his glasses. Ah, the bigger guy, right? Guy with the white shirt. When that dinosaur gets him. There was a new Walking with Dinosaurs this year? No way. Really? That was my childhood. All right, right. We're hunting that down. Chat, get on it. The streaming, pirating is back, right? Back in the 2000s, everyone was on LimeWire and stuff. I believe it's back. Everyone's sick of having all these different subscriptions. And thank you for subscribing. You can do it for free with Twitch Prime, but everyone's sick of these subscriptions, and I think Gen Z especially, I think they're getting back into all that LimeWire and streaming and pirating. The nerd guy that tries to smuggle the embryos out the pack. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's such a good movie. I haven't seen any of the new ones. I did watch one of them. The one, the one with Chris Pratt as like the whoa there. Like he's like a chill dude with the velociraptors. He's trained them like dogs. I kind of hated it. Spat in the face. Yeah, yeah. I had glasses very and was losing them became really bothered me. Yeah. He's sort of like is it Velma? The raptor trainer. Yeah. I didn't really like that film, so I haven't kept up with any of the others. But the first two or three is really, really good. I think the first movie is just a perfect movie. This chat today is all over the place, isn't it? It feels as scattered as my brain. I'm genuinely really, really hyped about finding out that it's a new Walking with Dinosaurs. It's peak television. I'm not a dinosaur kid anymore. Like you're all sending your suggestions for uh, dinosaur shows. This was me. Like I go through phases, different. What do you call them? Is it stims when you just need to do something? Right now, I'm in my wood stimming phase. At one point, it was dinosaurs. There are a few paleontologists on Twitch. That's cool. I'll check them out. Let me have a look for some of them. Curious to see the things my son latches onto. Will he get absorbed by dinosaurs or, God forbid, football? That's the only one I'm really not excited about. I don't want to always talk to him about football and the new player that's been signed. Yeah. Can't get too old for dinosaurs. It's very true. Am I a Lord of the Rings? Yes. Yeah, big Lord of the Rings fan. Silmarillion and the Tales of Tom Bombadil, all that. I'm big into it. If I finish the Game of Thrones books while I'm still carving, that'll probably be the next one I put on. New Zealand trip someday. Yeah, it's top of our list of places. Norway and New Zealand are the two countries we really like to visit. I also love the New Zealand accent, you know. It's just one of those accents that it doesn't get old for me. And also, I guess it's sort of like the geography is kind of like Wales, but epic. So New Zealand's very high, but there is something about the accent that just like tickles in a good way. I just it makes me smile whenever I hear it. I used to watch a lot of Australian, New Zealand movies. What was the one I used to really like when I was younger? Eagle versus Shark. If anyone out there's seen that, that's a classic. I used to watch that a lot. And lots by that director. Hunt for the Wilder People. All those ones, they're quality movies. Veggie Tales, no, I haven't seen. I haven't seen. I'm currently reading Slow Horses book series, and they are fun. Slow Horses. I don't know anything about that. Maybe you can explain a little bit. I'm a bit wary about starting new titles. The last title I started recently, I was suggested by Audible, was Court of Thorn and Roses, and it was maybe I've talked about it before. So I'm not going on the suggestions from Audible anymore. I'm weary about starting new series. No, no horny teenage novels for me, please. Ad break starting in 2 seconds. You've been warned. Sorry. I think I read that monster when I was 11. Which monster? I'm the only one who. Ah, the Silmarillion. Ah, that's cool. So you're a Potterhead is for Harry Potter. What do you got? Tolkien head? Tolkienite? What's the collective noun for people who enjoy Lord of the Rings? Unfortunately, loving Lord of the Rings now has become um sort of a tech bro thing. Misread and misunderstood. It's become sort of a far right thing when it was like it was always sort of a lefty hippie book, you know. You got all these big tech companies now like Palantir and stuff. They're all named after. It's so wrong. It doesn't. bastardization of his legacy. Anyway, let's not get political. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, do you have plans for Dragon print in the future? Hmm. For my own designs, I don't know. I have sort of an idea that I'm working on. Sort of a tree that's vaguely dragon shaped. I showed a really early sketch, and that was going to be my New Year's print. Just a straight dragon. I don't have any plans at the moment, but they come up often. It's like a common theme for a lot of Japanese prints. Semi-common. They come up. They come up here and there. So Horses is a book about spies in London. They're exiled to do administrative work. Apple TV has made a series of books. It's sort of, has it got a little bit of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy vibe to it, but with, it's James Bond meets Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Is that the right vibe? Also The Hobbit, yeah, of course, of course. And Clifford the Big Red Dog wasn't one of my favourite shows. I do know what you're talking about though. Was that an exclusively British cartoon? Or was that an American one? Don't let bad people take good things from us. That's very true. We should re-establish our dominance over the world of over Middle Earth. An ardor. Thing is, I get a lot of free time, sort of free listening time. And I guess I'm one of those people that can separate their brain from like the physical action and the mental thing. Some people they can't really like listen to a book when they're doing something with their hands. But I really find it actually helps me. And time sort of flies by. So I like listening to audiobooks and listening to sort of deep dives into video essays on things I enjoy, like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. So I guess I watch quite a few theory videos and stuff on a lot of these things, franchises are like. I haven't consumed any new media really. Only that Outline show. That's the only one, the only new thing that's got into my brain, like shows or books or whatever. Perhaps not for everyone, but for those who work in office, these books are fun. I'll give it a. I'll give it a. You get a sample section on Audible, so I've got some spare points. I'll give it a go. The perm looks nice, by the way. I've not got a perm. Was carving always subconscious for you? No. No, I worked very hard to bring it into my subconscious. I think it's the same with anything. To get good at something, like with swimming at the moment, when I'm swimming, I'll do some laps where I'm like tuning out and just like swimming. But a lot of the time, it's practice. Um, you think about what you're doing so that these things become aware and you can focus on them and improve them. It's not just going through the ropes. Well, you do get good at things by just going through the ropes, but it takes an incredibly long time. The way you want to get good at anything, you're a sculptor, you know all about this as well, is by conscious practice. You do things deliberately with a focus on every cut. Oh, what was I doing wrong there? How could I have done that cut better? Constant. Like you'll do a bit and then go, oh, actually, it would have been more efficient if it would have been nicer. I would have got a better, cleaner result if I'd have gone this cut first and then that one. Or if that was at a different angle. Or, oh, I'm on the line there, it's correct. But it might have been cleaner if I'd done it this way. And then you do that enough. Oh, you do that enough until it becomes ingrained in your muscles or in your subconscious, whatever you want to call it. And then you get to the point where you can switch off, and that's when you do your good work. You can't stay in that mode of always thinking about what you're doing. There's a real cap on the limit you can get to, the level you can achieve when your conscious mind is active on it. So no, it wasn't always conscious, always subconscious. And it's not always subconscious now. There's bits where you get in your head like, oh, I'm not doing that right, or I messed up there. So I choose the times when I want to carve like really delicate hair. I won't carve that if I'm having one of those days where it's not flowing. You want to be where it's just everything's going correctly and you feel it click. When you pull through the water and it doesn't feel like you're dragging, it feels like you're just moving up to your arm. I don't think Taryn's noticed. What haven't I noticed? That my block was off. I did notice that, but probably after you'd said. Oh, Ayana's poem. Yeah. Ayana's poem. I'll let you know. I'll let her know you said. Same question for you. Do you get in that mode where it feels subconscious when you're sculpting? It's also different. You make videos and stuff as well. It's very different when you're doing videos to when you're just quietly in the studio by yourself. How often do you get those moments where you feel like you're in the right sort of space and it's flowing? It's nice to be conscious of those moments after the fact. You know, you've had like a good bit and you suddenly realize I need a drink or something. and you notice that you've just been in the zone for like 2 hours straight, and it feels like 5 minutes, but you got a lot done, and you look at your work and it's good. It's good to step back from that and go, I was doing that then. I was doing it. Everything was going right. It's sort of proof that everything you trained for was sort of worth it. Most of the time, I think, yeah. Sometimes you sort of wake up and have no idea what happened. Yeah. I imagine it feels very similar to, playing jazz or something like that, improvising with music when things are going really well. It's a little bit easier for people to see when a musician gets in that flow over someone with a knife or a squeegee with a piece of clay. Then ask students, how did you do that? And you have to fake an answer. Yeah. Well, yeah, first you do step A, step B, and then you learn about step A and step B, and then you forget about step A and step B, and that's when step A and step B actually work. I need to change my position a little bit. I'm getting a bit of pain in my side here. The block is so big that it's bumping the wall, so I can't push it that far back. I need to move the table out so I can get it further back. What time are we on? I just had one of those moments. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. That didn't feel that long. I got to set myself some boundaries. I think being in the zone is what most artists are aiming for. Yeah. I think anyone, not just artists, not just musicians, just like you want to feel like that in your day. Just going about your day, like in the zone. Everything's working. You have a plan, you've done this. Easier said than done. I missed the section down the bottom here. Let's do this. I focused? No, I'm off camera. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Come in. Looks rumbling. Yeah, no, take care. Cheers for stopping by, Eric. We'll see you again. When are you going to get your own streams as well? You know, they stream on Patreon now. Catch you next time. I guess one good thing about the Shina is that it's so soft you really don't have to worry about breaking your knife. Did we see a knife break on the stream, I think? Oh, when I stabbed myself. We've drawn blood on the stream. Did we chip a knife though? I don't think so. I don't think I chipped the knife on the stream, right? Although I have a vague memory of the tiniest little tip just getting going. I don't think it was during carving. I think maybe I just accidentally tapped it against the block. Anyway, that's all to say. We don't chip many knives around here. Yeah. Where do I want to be cut? Here. I think we move the block. The camera. Lock. Little bit of oil. Don't really need it for this. some things for the stream. I just realized then I'd like to get something, maybe stream elements, or perhaps I can do it with Nightbot. Add a little thank you into the chat, at least for new followers. I think there's a code for that, right? That you can put in. I want to get something like that. And I also want to get a little pop-up on screen, non-intrusive, for new subs. And then in the new year, perhaps as a Christmas present for myself, we can get a new lens that can zoom in and out. Let's level up this setup. Are the YouTube videos going to be part of the Samurai series of print? But no, I'm going to be taking separate videos. I might use some footage, but I will be taking separate footage from different angles and stuff. I don't really want the overlays in the video as well. I do have one of the scenes here. If I do decide while I'm carving an interesting bit, I might just flick over to this plain one. We can get rid of my face and just have the block. Ooh, where's the correct one? That one. We can just have the block there with no overlays. So during some of the streams, I might flick over to some of these scenes just so I can get, if I'm doing a really interesting bit that I just want like a couple minutes of this in the video, we might switch over like that, if I remember to do so. Was it you, Spiegel, who was asking on the Discord, put that question, when will we be seeing the YouTube video for the samurai? I suppose it's about question time. Well, it's way past it, actually. Wow. The answer is probably not for another 6 months at least. I want it to be, I haven't decided if I'll be doing multiple parts to it. Maybe a 2-part video, maybe a 1-part video, I'm not sure. I'll decide after, like the process goes on, things happen. I sort of have to make those, I can't plan too much because the story develops as I'm making it. Things come up that are interesting or unexpected issues. But I'm thinking on the whole it should be a pretty straightforward thing to make. Not like the Shinhanga, like the Nico one. I didn't have a story going into that. I think it'll just be one slightly longer video. But to make that video, I also need to wait for it to be printed, and printers are in sort of scarce. They're in high demand. I can't speak. I was also asking about the Geisha microprint you showed. What was the question there? Sorry, I've been so busy that I'm just like, I'm not really engaged in anything apart from my work at the moment. I think you were asking if the geisha and mica print will be available. Yeah, I'm planning on releasing that. I still haven't decided if I'm going to be using them for a project. So I don't want to release them before I use them for a project. If I don't end up using them to make that video I was talking about, I will give them, I'll just put them out for people to make. I have a lot of things I'm like hoping to do and working on in the background. Releasing a lot of stuff. I want to do I talk about that? We'll save that one. I don't want to give everything away. It's too easy to just these things I've been working on in the background for a long time. It's so easy on stream to just go, yeah, I'm doing this thing. I'm sorry, it's awful. It's awful, tease. It's, Let's just leave it there. I didn't say anything. Have a look at Discord when you have free time, yeah. I'll have a look at it after the stream. I'll make myself a cup of tea and I'll have a little read through it. Still on camera? Barely. Didn't get very far. Didn't get very far. I think we will leave it there. We've done this little section. I have a lot of work to do, so I need to sort of knuckle down, and I'd like to get, what's my goal for tonight? Before I go to bed, it's 11 o'clock now. I'd like to finish maybe up to here. This is a nice break point. I'd like to finish at least that tonight, if not a little bit more. It'd be nice if I could get this whole section. Let's see if I can get all this done tonight. I've got to pace myself though. I have a tendency to, like, if I work too late one day, the next day is awful, and I don't want to start that on day one of this project because it's gonna drag, because I'm working a 9 to 5 and then I'm doing this. So it's gonna drag. I gotta pace myself, but I also don't have a lot of time to do this. I haven't missed the deadline yet though. I have made life very difficult for myself and my family by working very late, so I don't want to do that either. What can I do? What can I do? I didn't actually agree to this project either. This is a block that got sent me before I got to decide whether I was up for doing this project or not. We're in it now. We're in it now. And we have 4 of these blocks. There's another one over here. Both sides. Ooh. And I chose actually the least detailed one. The other blocks, they have more smaller details on them than this one. Anyway, let's flick over to the other camera. It's been very nice chatting to someone. And I think we'll leave it there. I will see you on Friday. I guess we'll be doing this on Friday morning. I'll rearrange my time. Steal a little bit of time from Mokankan. I work in the evenings. Do some tracing in the evenings. The tracing is still going. It would have been really good if I just had a good copy to trace from the start instead of retracing 2 times after the initial tracing. Anyway, I'm off. You guys have a good night. Have a good week. Hope you had a good weekend. I'll see you later. Peace and good night.